So hello everyone. Today in this lecture we are going to cover the amendments that were given by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India to the students at CA inter level. So I am dealing with the amendments related to corporate and other laws for CA inter level students. So first of all, what is meant by law, sir? What is meant by a law? Law means set of rules and regulations enforced by the parliament in order to protect public as well as public properties, thereby ensuring peaceful life, secure life, social justice. Is it clear? So law is nothing but set of rules and regulations which everyone has to follow, thereby it results into the securing the justice, peaceful living. Is it clear? So law always depends upon the situation. In the current situation, so what are all the rules to be framed so that the situation will be under control? If there are no laws, if there are no rules, definitely the situation will be out of control. For example, if there is no traffic law, there is no act called Indian Motor Vehicles Act, then there will be no regulation on the traffic, then every road we will have an accident. Every road we will have one accident. Thereby loss of people life or loss of properties. So the bike gets damaged, the car gets damaged, public infrastructure like roads gets damaged. So in order to avoid all these things, what lawmaker did, sir? What lawmaker did? So he framed a rules. He framed a list of rules. And he introduced as a proposal in the parliament. He introduced as a proposal in the parliament. Madam Speaker or Adhyaksha. So there are many traffic accidents that are taking place in India in the last few years. In order to control this, we hereby introducing a proposal. So this proposal, we call it as a bill. So bill is nothing but a proposal made by a member of the parliament. And the speaker or chairman of the meeting, a chairman of the parliament, so chairperson, we will call him as a chairperson or speaker. So that person will accept the proposal. So okay, your proposal is valid. So I will introduce this proposal in the House of the Parliament. In Parliament there are two houses. House one is House of People, popularly called as Lok Sabha, House of People. People representatives will be sent to that Lok Sabha. And the second house is Council of States, popularly called as Rajya Sabha or Upper House. The state government representatives or state representatives will present in that Council of States, that is Rajya Sabha. So in both the houses the bill will be introduced, the proposal will be introduced. When both the houses approves the bill, now the bill will be sent to the president for his assent. The president will sign the bill. Now that bill will be called as act. The bill will be called as act. Sir, acha, then Companies Act, why we are calling company law, sir? We can call it as Companies Act, no, sir. No, ma'am, no. Our Companies Act is predominantly based on the rules. So Act covers some 60 to 70% of rules and regulations. Some 70% of all the major points. But remaining some 30 to 40%. So what Parliament is deciding, sir? Every time if you want to change the rule, if you want to change the act, every time you have to introduce the proposal in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. If both the houses gives approval, now go to the president for consent, for assent, for president approval. If president gives approval, then the bill will be converted to act. Until then, the bill is not at all applicable. It is not mandatory for us to follow the bill, but it is mandatory for us to follow the act. Okay, so every time for a minor change also, following the entire system is a ridiculous and it is a time taking one, it is a difficulty one. So that's the reason what the experts did, sir, So the areas which require frequent amendments, they used the word as may be prescribed. Now who will prescribe, sir? Who is having authority to prescribe such rules and regulations, sir? And it is central government. It is none other than central government. Under central government there is one department. There are many departments. One such department named Ministry of Corporate Affairs, MCA. So the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, one of the department, one of the branch or one of the division in this central government, it will look after the matters relating to the corporate affairs. It will give the rules and regulations from time to time. Now all such rules plus act plus rules, And if there is any practical difficulty in implementing the law, there arises a dispute in implementing the law. Now such matters will be addressed to the court. Such matters shall be addressed to the court. Now the judiciary, court will come under judiciary. Now the judge will make judgment, judge will give judgment. So act plus rules plus case laws, all these put together we call it as law. That means we are reading law, we are not reading any act, we are reading law. So law includes act, rules and case laws time to time. Those rules time to time given by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and case laws time to time case law judgments given by the judges. Under High Court might be, or under Supreme Court might be, anything. So all these put together we call it as a law. So our subject is corporate laws. It's not Companies Act. It's not Companies Act. It is company law. Is it clear? Okay. Okay. So every time the law prepared, every time when an expert is preparing the law, he will prepare the law based on the current situations. Based on the current situations. And present environment is not static in nature. It is dynamic in nature. It keep on changing. I think 10 years back, how the people are living, and present how people are living, there is a tremendous change. Tremendous change. 10 years back, every person is used to pay money in cash only. But now everyone started paying through Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm. So there is a change in man living. So how people are living, how people's lifestyle gets changed. Like that environment is never static, it is a dynamic in nature. That means laws written some 10 years back, some 5 years back, or law written yesterday, it will be outdated if the present environment gets changed. If the present environment gets changed, the law will be outdated. So law should regulate each and every situation. But if situation is getting changed, then law should also be changed. The change to law, we call it as amendment. Change means addition or deletion, simply nothing but modification. But technically speaking, under Ministry of Corporate Affairs, technically under Constitution, technically speaking, change to law is nothing but amendment. As per Constitution, any modification to law is nothing but amendment. So on the screen, there are some acts. Original act was Companies Act 2013. Original act, Companies Act 2013, it replaced Companies Act 1956. So Companies Act 1956 was repealed, it was removed, and in the place of Companies Act 1956, Companies Act 2013 was introduced. But from then onwards, there are many changes in the present environment, and meeting the requirements of the present environment, the experts are making changes in the law. That's the reason we are getting huge amendments. We are getting many amendments, not only from company law point of view, but also from income tax point of view also. Income tax laws also, every time tax gets amended based on the present requirements of the society, present requirements of the environment. So every time if a change is required, so that change is nothing but modification or amendment. We call it as amendment. So Companies Original Act was Companies Act 2013. And you all know it came into force with effect from 30th August 2000. It received President consent on 29th August and it was notified on 30th August 2013. Finally, Section 1 was introduced on that day and 98 sections were introduced on 12th September 2013. Yes or no? But since then, several changes were made to the Act and we call them as Company Amendments. So first amendment happened in the year 2015, Companies Amendment Act 2015. It didn't replace the Companies Act 2013, but it made modifications to Companies Act 2013, some little modifications. And second time amendment was taken place in 2017, Companies Amendment Act 2017. Later, Companies Amendment Act 2019 came into the picture. But Companies Amendment Act 2019 was passed. Before passing that act, so there are several changes happened. Actually, Companies Amendment Act 2019 was not directly introduced. It was introduced through ordinances. For example, see, the first one is Company Amendment Ordinance 2018. See, you don't go to Companies Amendment Bill 2020 because this is just a proposal. And this proposal was not yet approved in the Parliament. This proposal was not given assent by the President. So, no need to read the bills. For us, only acts are applicable or ordinances are applicable. Amendment Bill 2020, you can leave it. Amendment Act 2019. Yes, today's lecture, we are going to cover all these amendments acts, all these all the provisions that were there in Amendment Act 2019. And Companies Amendment Act 2017, Companies Amendment Act 2015, but Company Amendment Ordinance 2018, Ordinance 2019, Second Ordinance 2019. Sir, what is ordinance, sir? You said, you defined what is the act, what are rules, what are case laws, you defined it. But what is meant by ordinance, sir? See, in case of emergency, there requires a law to regulate that dispute. To regulate the dispute, the law is compulsorily required. The law is compulsorily required. But parliament sessions are not conducted. Parliament sessions are not taking place. Reason, some pandemic situation. For example, in the current year 2020, we are facing a severe pandemic situation, coronavirus, COVID-19. So because of this situation, yes, it is unable to conduct parliament sessions. It is unable to conduct because government is announcing social distancing. Then how they will meet? If you look into the Lok Sabha, people used to sit together without any space also. So how they will conduct parliament sessions? But it is emergency to pass a law. It is emergency to pass a law. So now what experts, constitutional experts, what they did? So before, 1950, I am telling about the story of 1950. India Republic Day, 26 January 1950, because that day our constitution was implemented successfully. Our constitution came into force with effect from 26 January 1956. Yes or no? Sorry, 1950. We call it as a Republic Day, and we enjoy that day. Yes or no? We do festival like Republic Day, Ganatantra Dinotsav. Okay. So now point is, the constitutional experts already realized this fact. In case of emergency, where the houses can't be conducted, the House of Parliaments are not unable to conduct the meetings, in that case, the President is having the power to give a law. Under Article 123 of Indian Constitution, the President is having the powers to pass a law. Even before approval from the Parliament, even without approval from Parliament, yes, President is having power to pass the law. But that one is known as ordinance. The same bill was approved by the Parliament houses and approved by the President, then we call it as an act. But without approval of houses of the Parliament, both houses, without approval of the houses of Parliament, if President is enacting a bill, if President is approving the bill, now that bill becomes ordinance. Both will have same effect, but ordinance will have a validity period, limited validity period. Act will have unlimited period. Until that act was removed, the act will have validity period. But coming to the ordinance, it will have validity period of just 6 months and 6 weeks. Many got confused. Sir, 6 months or 6 weeks? Sir, 6 weeks from the Parliament sessions, 6 weeks from the Parliament sessions scheduled date. We got confused, sir. Please give clarity. Yes, I am going to give that clarity. See, generally as per our Indian Constitution, at least 2 meetings should be conducted. At least some 3 meetings should be, I guess 3, I'm not sure, but at least some 3 Parliament sessions are to be conducted every year. Budgetary session one and monsoon meetings something. So minimum 3 meetings are required, and the maximum time gap between two meetings should not exceed 6 months. So that means Parliament sessions has to be conducted with a maximum gap of 6 months. Suppose if the last meeting was conducted in the month of January 1st, the last meeting was conducted. Now it is the duty of the President to call for the meetings by 30th June 2020, because the maximum time gap between 2 Parliament sessions should not exceed 6 months. Is it clear? So Parliament sessions are unable to be conducted. So that's why President, he is passing the bill by signing it, by approving it. We call it as ordinance. Now this ordinance will have a validity period of 6 months and 6 weeks. Exactly what you listened is correct. 6 months and 6 weeks, or 6 weeks from the commencement of Houses of Parliament. Whichever is earlier. This is not relevant for your exam. That's why I am not writing on the board. So I am not writing on the screen. So just listen carefully. The validity of the ordinance is just 6 months and 6 weeks. But if parliament sessions were conducted within this period, then what is the commencement date? Suppose sir, Lok Sabha conducted on 1st January, Rajya Sabha conducted on 1st February. Then you have to calculate 6 weeks from 1st February. 1st February. So 6 weeks from the commencement of parliament sessions. Whichever is earlier. 6 months. Why 6 months already? This is the maximum time gap between two parliament seasons. Two parliament sessions. And 6 weeks. 6 months and 6 weeks is the original tenure of the ordinance. But if parliament sessions were conducted within this period, then you have to calculate from the commencement of Lok Sabha date or Rajya Sabha date, whichever is later. From that you have to, from that date, you have to take for a period of 6 weeks. So within 6 weeks from the commencement of the houses of parliament, this ordinance has to be approved. This bill has to be approved by the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, or else the ordinance gets expired. The ordinance gets revoked. So Act will have unlimited validity period, whereas ordinance will have validity period of just 6 months and 6 weeks only. Originally 6 months and 6 weeks. But if any parliament sessions were conducted within these 6 months, now you have to calculate 6 weeks from the date of commencement of meeting. So within 6 weeks from the commencement of parliament session, this has to be approved by the House of Parliament. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha should give approval, or else the ordinance gets terminated. That's what happened actually. See, in the year 2018, yes, Ministry of Corporate Affairs gave an order, and because of the order, some committee was constituted. One committee was constituted, and that committee realized that there should be need to enhance the scope of Ministry of Corporate Affairs branches. So Ministry of Corporate Affairs, they are having branches, like one is ROC, Registrar of Companies, the other one is Regional Director. So to enhance the jurisdiction of ROC and Regional Director, yes, they finally thought that the Act should be amended. The Act should be amended in order to enhance the jurisdiction of both ROC as well as Regional Director. And they realized that the offences should be liberalized. And some offences, they should be, the people who commit severe offences, they should be punished severely, and some other offences, they should be reduced. And another one, so to regulate the, recategorize the acts. So like that, they made a decision, okay, what happened? So they made a decision regarding changes in the offences as well as punishments. They recognize that we have to enhance the jurisdiction of ROC as well as Regional Director. So they are the main proposals. Based on those proposals, Companies Amendment Bill 2018 was finally prepared. Now this bill was introduced in Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha. Lok Sabha gave approval, but Rajya Sabha is unable to give the approval because Rajya Sabha, there are some disputes. So Rajya Sabha at the time, it is not possible to conduct the House of Council of States. So finally Ministry of Corporate Affairs assumed that, so it is emergency situation. We need to bring the rules and regulations to regulate the current situation. But nearby there are no sessions of the parliament. So finally what they did, they requested President. No, President approved it. Now it became ordinance. And we already said the ordinance will have a validity period of 6 months and 6 weeks, or 6 weeks from the commencement of the parliament sessions, whichever is earlier, as I already said. So first one, it is Company Amendment Ordinance 2018. Firstly, Companies Amendment Ordinance 2018. So it is there on the screen. It's promulgated, means approved by the President in 69th year of Republic of India. So right from 1950 onwards. So this year 2018, it will come under 69th year of the Republic of India. And an ordinance further to amend the Companies Act 2013. Whereas Parliament is not in a session and the President is satisfied that circumstances exist which render it necessary for him to take immediate action. Now therefore, in exercise of these powers conferred by the clause 1 of Article 123, whatever I said it was written, Article 123 of the Constitution, the President is pledged to promulgate the following ordinances. And this ordinance comes into force with effect from 2nd November 2018. This ordinance came into force with effect from 2nd November 2018. 2nd November 2018. So this ordinance was implemented with effect from 2nd November 2018. But what happened subsequently? The ordinance validity period gets completed. Is going to be completed. Because sir, you said 6 months, no. I said 6 months and 6 weeks, correct? But I already said one point. So from the date of commencement of the parliament, within 6 weeks it has to be approved. It has to be approved, or else it will be terminated. So that's the reason what Ministry of Corporate Affairs did. It once again requested President. Sir, the ordinance which we passed in the year 2018, November 2nd, it was going to be terminated. In the place of that ordinance, give one more ordinance. The same was written here and there. So just watch it on the screen. The Company Amendment Ordinance 2019 promulgated by the President in the 69th year of Republic of India. An ordinance further to amend Companies Act 2013. Whereas Company Amendment Ordinance 2018 was promulgated by President on the 2nd day of November 2018. And whereas the Company Amendment Bill 2019 to replace Company Amendment Ordinance 2018 has been, has been passed by the House of People. House of People means Parliament, Lok Sabha, House of People, People Representatives. They passed it on 4th day of January, and it is pending in the Council of States, that means Rajya Sabha. And whereas the Company Amendment Bill 2019 could not be taken up for consideration and passing in the Council of States. Therefore, the Company Amendment Ordinance will cease, 2018 will cease to operate on 21st day of January 2019. I gave 6 weeks time period. No, you should not calculate 6 weeks from 2nd November 2018. You have to calculate from the commencement of Parliament. From the commencement of Parliament. We don't know when the Parliament was commenced. I mean Parliament sessions. When the Parliament sessions were commenced, we don't know. But from that date onwards, yes, the ordinance will have validity period of 6 weeks. So the last day was 21st day of January 2019. So and whereas it is considered necessary to give continued effect to the provisions of Company Amendment Ordinance 2018, whereas Parliament is not in the session and the President is satisfied that circumstances exist which render necessary for him to take immediate action. So therefore, in exercise of the powers conferred by the clause 1 of Article 123 of Constitution, the President of India pledged to promulgate the following ordinance, and the name is Company Amendment Ordinance 2019. It will have same provisions which were there in Company Amendment Ordinance 2018. To give continuation effect, continuing effect. So what President did, sir? He replaced that Company Ordinance 2018 with a new ordinance. So it shall be deemed to have come into effect on 2nd November 2018. That means what? Original ordinance. Company Amendment Ordinance 2018 date. From that date onwards, this ordinance will come into the place. But again, this one also failed. So the reason, parliaments are not in session and the time period is going to be completed. So again, what experts did, what Ministry of Corporate Affairs did. So we will look after this. We will look into this. So the Company Amendment Second Ordinance 2019, first ordinance already completed 2019, which was passed on 21st Jan, which was passed on which was given approval on 12th January 2019. 12th January 2019, and second ordinance, so we will see the date, second ordinance, it was given on 21st February 2019. So original ordinance was 2nd November 2018. To give continuation effect, we made one more ordinance that was on 12 January 2019, and to give continuation effect, again second ordinance was passed. The date was 21st February 2019. So promulgated by President in the 70th year of Republic of India. An ordinance further to amend Companies Act 2013 was promulgated by President on the 2nd day of November 2018. Whereas the Companies Amendment Bill to replace Companies Ordinance 2018, Amendment Ordinance 2018, has been passed by the Lok Sabha on 4th day of January, but it was pending in Council of the States. Therefore, in order to give continued effect to the provisions of Ordinance 2018, Ordinance 2019 was promulgated on the 12th day of January 2019. Again the story was repeated, again the story was repeated. And whereas the Companies Amendment Bill 2019 along with amendments to the said bill could not be taken up for consideration and passing in the Council of States, again failed to get approval from Rajya Sabha, thereby the time gets completed, the time is going to be completed. So the first ordinance will be replaced with second ordinance, and whereas the Company Ordinance 2019 will cease to operate on 13th day of March 2019. 13th day of March 2019. Which one? Company Ordinance 2019. So whereas it is considered necessary to give continued effect to the provisions of Companies Amendment Ordinance 2019. So the Parliament is not in session and the President is satisfied and circumstances exist which render it necessary for him to take immediate action. So according to Article 123 Clause 1 of the Constitution, President is pledged to promulgate the following ordinance. And the name of this ordinance was Companies Amendment Second Ordinance 2019, and it comes into the force with effect from 2nd November 2018. That is the date of original ordinance, Company Amendment Ordinance 2018. So the same provisions which were there in Ordinance 2018 were copied to Ordinance 2019, were again copied to Ordinance Second Ordinance 2019, because in order to give continuation effect, Finally, elections completed in the March-April 2019, I guess. March-April 2019, the elections were completed. So after elections, Lok Sabha was reconstituted once again. No, Lok Sabha approved the bill, Rajya Sabha approved the bill, finally President gave consent. There comes our act, that is Companies Amendment Act 2019. And it was notified on 31st July 2019. So this Amendment Act contains provisions like this. Amendment Act 2019 contains Company Amendment Act contains Company Second Ordinance. Okay, Amendment Second Ordinance. Companies Amendment Second Ordinance. Actually, the name was Companies Amendment Second Ordinance. This is purely for your knowledge sake only. Company Amendment Second Ordinance 2019 plus few additional changes. Few additional changes were brought in this act. Few additional changes were brought under this act. That means Companies Amendment Ordinance, the provisions contained in Companies Amendment Second Ordinance 2019, they have effect from 2nd November 2018. And few additional changes, they come into effect with they come into force with effect from 15th August 2019. 15th August 2019. The few additional changes came into force with effect from 15th August 2019. But the same was notified under 31st July notification only. This is Bharat Rajapatra, official gazette. We call it as Gazette of India. Any law, it will come into force only by way of notification in official gazette. So Company Amendment Act 2019 contains the provisions of Company Amendment Ordinance 2018 plus few additional changes. Those additional changes will come into force with effect from 15th August 2019, and all the old provisions, old amendments, they are as usual. They came into force with effect from 2nd November 2018 only. So okay sir, now what we are reading sir, now what we are supposed to read for upcoming November 2020 exams, you have to read Company Amendment Act 2019. In addition to Companies Act 2013, you have to read the changes that were done to the Companies Act 2013 under the name called Companies Amendment Act 2019. You have to read it. And don't read entire act, because your syllabus was limited to 148 sections and you are supposed to read only 148 sections only. It's my role to explain whatever the changes that were brought under Companies Amendment Act 2019. So to be explained. My role is to explain all these changes. Okay? Can we start the amendments? So far, for the last some 20-25 minutes, what we have discussed, sir, so role of law, role of act, difference between law and act, ordinance, and history of Company Amendment Act 2019. So all these points we covered. Okay, no problem. Now we will read the I mean, we will read the changes that were done to the Companies Act. Okay. So this is the material issued under the name of Masterminds, and in this material is useful for everyone. This material is useful for everyone. But the students who are following Masterminds books 41st edition material, for them this material is apt one. So Masterminds released the recent edition released by Masterminds was 41st edition for company law. So in addition to that book, you have to read this act, you have to read this book, and this book is of 19 pages. This book is of 19 pages. Okay, after eliminating all some unwanted information, it will come to around some 15 pages or it will come to around 15 pages only. So you have to get thorough with these amendments. And disclaimer, note point like that, disclaimer. Institute never ask amendment directly, but it will ask a question which was linked with amendment, So that means direct amendments will not be tested, but the matter related to amendment will be asked. Sir, how? That we will discuss. So the first amendment is financial year. Did you remember I said the main objective of Company Amendment Ordinance 2018. The main objective of Company Amendment Ordinance 2018 was to enhance the jurisdiction of Ministry of Corporate Affairs branches. So what are the branches? One is ROC, the other one is Regional Director. So to enhance the scope of these two offices, several amendments were made. One such amendment is financial year. Actually, what is the definition of financial year? If you look into the definition of financial year, the financial year closes on 31st day of the March every year. But there is one exception. If any company whose holding, subsidiary, associate were incorporated outside India, were doing business outside India, and for the purpose of consolidation, if this company wants to prepare financial statements for different year, for example, I am the subsidiary company, my holding company was outside India. It is following January to December as the financial year, and I am supposed to follow April to March as the financial year. Now for the purpose of consolidation it will be difficult, because my holding company wants financial statements of subsidiary for the period January to December, but I prepared financial statements for April to March. So how these will be consolidated? One financial statement is showing January to December, the another financial statement is showing April to March. How these get consolidated? How these statements gets consolidated? So now the subsidiary company will file an application with NCLT, actually NCLT. Sir, my holding company wants to prepare consolidated financial statements, and they are supposed to follow some other year. They are supposed to follow Jan to December as their financial year. And we request you to give the same period as a financial year for us. So we will also follow Jan to December as the financial year. Like that, company will file an application with NCLT. NCLT will give approval to the company. Then this company can prepare financial statements for the period January to December. Earlier, the company is supposed to file an application with NCLT for financial year change approval. But now the power to approve the change in financial year is transferred from NCLT to central government. That means now company is supposed to file an application with central government. Central government allows me to change my financial year. Point to be noted, whenever you read the word central government in the Companies Act, central government won't directly involve. It delegates the power to registrar of companies. It delegates the power to regional director. That means the scope of ROC and the scope of regional director gets enhanced. Their jurisdiction, their powers gets increased. NCLT powers reduce and these powers increase. Reason, NCLT is having a huge cases. Many cases are pending with NCLT. There is a burden on NCLT. Now that burden was shifted to ROC and regional director, because each and every state will have ROC except northeastern states. There are some 7 states will have one ROC. You all know that Tamil Nadu is having 2 ROCs, Maharashtra is having 2 ROCs. Yes or no? So since there are more number of ROCs, it is very easy to give approval. as well as within less time the approval will be given. So that's the need of this amendment. And see, the central government may, on an application made by the company or a body corporate in prescribed form and manner, allow any period as its financial year, whether or not that period is a year, if the following conditions are satisfied. What are those conditions? The company or body corporate is a holding subsidiary associate to a company incorporated outside India. For example, myself, Kia Motors India Private Limited, and I'm having a holding company outside India. Or myself, Amazon Services India Private Limited, Amazon India Services Private Limited, and I am having a holding company in US, Amazon Incorporation. They are supposed to follow Jan to December as a financial year, and we are following April to March. It is difficult for the purpose of consolidation. So now I will file an application with CG. If CG is satisfied, CG will give approval to me. Now I will follow Jan to December as the financial year. See, company is required to follow a different financial year for consolidation of its accounts outside India. If these two conditions are satisfied, CG will give approval. Note, previously application is made to NCLT, but now application is to be filed with CG. Any application pending before the tribunal as on date of commencement of the company's amendment ordinance 2018, that is 2nd November 2018, shall be disposed of by the tribunal alone in accordance with the provisions applicable to it before such commencement. That means all the pending applications till 2nd November 2018, all the applications filed with NCLT till 2nd November 2018, those cases will be disposed by NCLT only. NCLT will give approval for those cases, and the fresh cases, new cases, now these files will be diverted to CG. Now CG will give approval. So this is one amendment to enhance the scope of ROC as well as regional directors. Next one, second chapter, that is classes of companies, different kinds of companies. Subsidiary company or subsidiary, there is an amendment. So what is that amendment? See, look into the old provision. It is a company in which the holding company controls the composition of board of directors or exercises or controls more than half of the total share capital, either at its own or together with one or more of its subsidiaries. Again, there is a definition for total share capital, clarification. Sir, what is meant by total share capital? Like this they wrote. Total share capital means equity share capital plus convertible preference share capital. Convertible preference share capital. Many got confused. Convertible preference shares will convert into equity in future. Now there is no such conversion. Why we should give priority to them? They are not entitled to any voting rights. They are not preference shareholders. Generally, they are not entitled to the voting rights. Upon conversion, the shares will be, at the time of conversion, the shares will be converted into equity. Then only they will get voting rights. Why unnecessarily writing this provision like this? And why one more time clarification for total share capital? So the lawmaker, the expert, what he did, he replaced the word total share capital with total voting power. Not only that reason, but there is one more reason called DVR, differential voting rights. Differential voting rights. Suppose all these people, all of you are holding normal voting rights and I am holding differential voting right. I am holding a single share, but I am having 1 lakh votes. I am having 1 lakh votes. And these people, all the remaining people are holding 99 shares, but they are having only some 10,000 votes. Are you all getting my point? See, what I am trying to say is, I am having a single share certificate in that there are 1 lakh votes because this is a DVR, differential voting right. And remaining members are holding remaining shares, but their voting power was less than my holding. So if general meeting was conducted, who will get more votes, sir? It's me. I will get more votes. So don't compare with total share capital. You just compare with voting power. Sir, where we will get voting power? Voting power manaki ela vastundi, sir. It always comes from paid up share capital, proportional to the total paid up share capital. And my voting rights are also subject to the differential voting rights. Suppose if I am holding DVRs, differential voting rights, my voting rights will be determined by the terms and conditions of differential voting rights. Because of this change, because of the differential voting rights, the lawmaker changed subsidiary company definition. Earlier, subsidiary company means more than half of the total share capital, but now more than half of the total voting power. We can have a small illustration. For example, it won't take much time. For example, there are 3 companies A Limited, B Limited, C Private Limited. The total paid up share capital of C Limited was 1 lakh rupees. So divided into 10,000 shares, face value rupees 10. And A Limited is holding some 6,000 shares in C Private Limited, and B Limited is holding some 4,000 shares, remaining shares in C Private Limited. That means A Limited is having how many shares? 6,000 shares. B Limited is having 4,000 shares. That means 60% of total share capital. 40% of total share capital is B Limited. 40% of total share capital of C Private Limited was held by B Limited. So by virtue of this definition, yes, one is very clear. So who is holding company, who is subsidiary company, sir ante? So greater than 50% hold chestindi A Limited kabatti A Limited is holding. C Private Limited is subsidiary. It is very easy. It is very easy. Even a small kid can also tell this answer. But what happened actually? What happened? This C Private Limited, it created 100 shares, and the nature and the speciality of these shares is DVRs. See, these 10,000 shares are ordinary shares. Ordinary shares. 1 share equal to 1 vote. How many votes? 1 share equal to 1 vote. But these 100 shares, each share, the specialty is each share is having some 100 votes. How many votes? It is having some 100 votes. No, it's not 100. For example, 1000 votes. Each share is having each share is having some 1000 votes. No. I'll take my votes. So each share is having how many votes, sir? 100 votes. All these 100 shares were allotted to B Limited. All these 100 shares were allotted to B Limited. Now listen carefully. Sir, what is a holding company? A company which is controlling another company. This company is known as holding company. What is a subsidiary company? It's a controlled company. One company is controlling this company is known as subsidiary company. One company is controlling this company is known as subsidiary. And the controlling company is known as holding company. Yes or no? So what happened after issue of DVRs? Now I am going to explain the same point. A Limited is having how many shares? 6,000 shares. B Limited, it is holding actually 4,000 shares, and newly some 100 DVRs were given. Yes or no? 100 DVRs. So total how many shares? 10,100 shares. 10,100 shares. So that means proportionate of A Limited holding is 6,000 divided by 10,100. It comes around 59.41%. And proportionate of B Limited holding was 40.59%. Now by virtue of the definition, if you look into the definition, any company holds more than half of the total share capital. That company is known as holding company, and in which more than half of the total share capital was held, that company is known as subsidiary company. Thereby the answer is A Limited holding company, and C Private Limited is a subsidiary company. But this is wrong. I can prove with a small example. That's what I am telling, but I will expand it. Suppose a general meeting was conducted. Who are the members of C Private Limited? Only 2 members. That's why I called a private company. I took example of Private Limited. Who are the 2 members? A Limited and B Limited. A resolution was placed before them. Now how many votes A can cast? A is holding 6,000 shares, each share 1 vote, so total 6,000 votes. But B Limited is holding 4,000 ordinary shares and DVRs. How many DVRs? 100 shares. Each share, how many votes? 100 shares into 100 votes. So if you take total, A Limited is having 6,000 votes and B Limited is having 4,000 plus 10,000, 14,000 votes. Now total it, sum if. So 20,000 votes. Out of 20,000 votes, A Limited is having just 30% and B Limited is having 70%. Now you decide who is controlling C Private Limited. Now you decide who is controlling C Private Limited. Is A Limited controlling C Private Limited or B Limited is controlling C Private Limited? The answer is B Limited is controlling C Private Limited. How we got it? It's based on total voting power. So share capital may cheat you. Share capital may cheat you. The basis of share capital is not appropriate. It's not correct. So expert, what he did, he made a rectification. He made a rectification. So what he did, in the word total share capital, he wrote a total voting power. Total voting power. Are you all getting my points? My voting power was subject to section 47, section 106, section 43 DVRs and section 188 related party transactions. Is it clear? So this is the amendment. The reason of amendment was this. So if the company is containing DVRs, then total share capital is not appropriate. So total voting power is appropriate. Total voting power is appropriate. So thereby impact, the definition of total share capital was eliminated, was omitted. So I think you got my point. Associate company, there is one amendment in associate company, the same amendment. Instead of total share capital, they wrote the words total voting power. Associate company, you all know, one company is having significant influence in another company. If one company is having a significant influence in another company, then that company is known as associate company. Yes or no? In order to get significant influence, one company should have at least 20% of total voting power in the second company. But it should be less than or equal to 50%. Because if it exceeds 50%, there is no concept called associate. Holding subsidiary company picture comes into existence. So in order to call associate, one company should have significant influence. So what is the measurement? How can we measure significant influence? Very interesting. So you should have at least 20% of total voting power. Then you both are associate companies. So with this, classes of companies also completed. Next one is promotion and incorporation of company.